Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and you are at the Visibility Corner Show. Yes, as always, we're here to maximize, to reach your impact with experts in all areas of life, all walks of life, all gurus, all geniuses, all business, whoever is out there that's shining a light in the world and maybe in your world as coaches, consultants, what have you. I bring that to you on this platform because I want to make sure that, first of all, you get to know the individuals that are making a difference by being a lighthouse to the world, as I say. And then on the second part of it, really maybe get some tips from them as they're talking about what they do, is how they become visible, how they're a beacon to the world and how people can see that beacon. Because I always tell people, you have those gifts in you that you do. You know, you might be a speaker, you might be a singer, whatever you do. But if you're just in a corner, hidden, and no one sees you, no one hears you of those wonderful gifts, not so much so you can just grow in the world, but then you never know who you could help if you're hidden, right? So we want to make sure that you get to know and get to see and get to learn and get to grow when it comes to having the people that are on my virtual stage, as they say. So every week we come to you, and this week I am so delighted because I have a wonderful power couple that's going to be coming on the virtual stage today, and they're in the medical profession. And I'm telling you right now, sometimes when you just meet people firsthand and you get to feel their energy, you're like, I feel like I've been knowing you for a while. I really feel comfortable us talking. And I'm telling you, this couple, this power couple, yes, it's the king and queen going to be coming on. And I just resonate with them already. I've been learning, their website, seeing what they're doing for others in the medical field, especially the part that I like when they're talking about maybe helping with the aging process a little bit. I really would like to hear a lot about that. I know this is not about the show, it's all about that. But when I seen that part already, I said, sign me up. We need to talk. What can I do on a health perspective for that? But besides that, they have so much. You're talking about credibility, on top of credibility. I mean, this is Lynette and Trip Goolsby, MD, and they're the niche focused on the health and age reversal and regenerative medicine. Sorry, they're also best-selling authors and speakers and have been featured experts in various international recognized podcasts, magazines, you name it. Brainz Magazine's mindbodygreen.com, entrepreneur.com, many others. They publish several books, Think and Live Longer, and the list goes on. And usually I like to just give a tad of what my guests have because I want them to really talk so you get to know and get the relationship building when we're talking. But just to let you know, they have the goods, okay? You cannot question their credibility at all. But before I bring these wonderful royalty on, the king and queen, as I call them, I have to make sure I bring it up right. So give me a few seconds here and we will get to meet this wonderful couple. We'll be right back. Hello, power couple.
Hey, Barbara.
Hey, Barbara.
Thank you so much for having us on. We're so excited to be here with you.
Well, thank you, Queen, because I know we had just a little, whatever, but that's no snafu or whatever you want to call it. But we don't let that stop us. Not when it comes to having royalty on my stage. So with that said, I want to just, first of all, before we even start the conversation, thank you both for being on the Visibility Corner. Like I said, one of the things that I love to do, my mission is to help. I'm like a little cheerleader in the corner, like, yes, put them up on stage, let them speak. I want to hear what they have to say because it's so important for people to know what you do because you are helping so many people, especially in the medical field and beyond. So, and either one of you can do this because I know we're having the couples here, so you can just chime in. Each one want to just whatever how you want to answer. But I want to ask before we even start, because I always say I like to pull the curtain just a little bit behind the scenes on how you became what you are now and what you're doing for the world. So if you can share that little story first.
Yeah, that's a great story. We love talking about how we ended up here because originally, Trip is a board certified medical oncologist and he was in private practice for what, 30 someone?
25 to 30 years. Yeah.
I keep aging him. He keeps
Yeah.
going backwards, but
10 years, only 10 years.
it's only 10 years. Yeah. So, but that business model was not sustainable because of shifts in reimbursement and government and local politics. Unfortunately, he wouldn't go get a job. I would get him interviews. He'd get offers and he'd be like, I know my worth, and wouldn't take the job. And I'm like, well, we're going into debt, subsidizing cancer care, which he was happy to do. I was not. And so we had to really get clear on what it is he loves to do. And that's kind of how we totally flipped what our business model. So do you want to talk about just briefly? I mean, this story is probably a 25-minute story. So can you do a redux?
A redux. Well, yeah, I can do a redux. I can do a redux. She told me that she would divorce me if I kept paying for other people's cancer.
Okay.
True story. True story.
And it was a blessing in disguise. And I think just what transpired afterwards and what I was already involved with in kind of integrative medicine and what transitioned after that has been just an absolute blessing in my career and what I've seen and what has developed. It's really been a blessing.
Yeah. So he had, our oldest son is almost 18. And when he was born, Trip was 50. And so personally, Trip started looking into modalities that would help him keep the pace with the baby that was about to arrive. And when we started to have that catalyst in our business, and having him getting clear on exactly what it is he loved to do. He really loved to help people live longer, healthier, happier lives. I mean, in cancer care, he was exceptional at extending life and making that process better for the patient. And so I'm like, okay, well, you love helping people live longer, happier. So we're going to get in front of that cancer ball and we're going to help prevent it. And so slowly but surely, we transitioned into what we call a 4 pillars approach to health optimization, which is helping a patient change their behavior with respect to nutrition, physical fitness, and exercise, optimizing those hormones to get them back to where they were when that patient was in their 20s. And then all of that is tied with our proprietary mind body coaching program, Think and Live Longer, also a book available on Amazon. And what we found over the past, it's been a decade now since this happened, is that we get really good results when our patients are compliant with 3 of the 4 pillars, but we get transformational results, not just in health, but in life when they really buy into that mind body component.
Yes.
So that's like a really short redux.
That's a real redux.
A redux. Well, first of all, I'm glad that you two didn't get a divorce. So let's put that out there first. I'm so glad that didn't happen. Because then this wouldn't have occurred, right? So you never know. I always tell people when things change your life, sometimes we don't know what journey is going to take, where it's going to take us to the point where things happen. Like you said, the low valleys of, okay, well, we need to make some money. I know you're trying to find yourself here, but and then with all that, see what arrived to that. And I just want to give you so much kudos, Trip, for really helping the people in the cancer realm, because it's been 13 years for myself, and I've been in remission for cancer to the point where I had to have a full-blown hysterectomy because I had uterus cancer. And they got it all. So I didn't have to go through so much of the chemo or anything, but because they caught it in time. But like you said, going back to what you said, Queen, regarding what you're doing, like the prevention of making sure you're eating right, making sure, mind, body, and soul, everything's being taken care of. So your body can, not go there in that route. Something that I didn't do. So I always tell people, learn from Barbara what not to do. Now I'm doing much better because of that whole scare. But but even the doctor told me when he told me that I had it, and he's like, well, okay, if you don't, because me and my doctor has a relationship, is he's just straightforward. I'm straightforward with him. It's like we don't cut We don't beat around the bush.
I
So I
think
said,
that's the best way to be, actually. There's no
so
room for misinterpretation when people say it
just
like it
kind of
is.
say it, yeah.
Mhm.
So he just told me, he said, Barbara, I'm gonna tell you right now, the test came back. You have 95% cancer in your uterus. I was like,
Wow.
okay.
Wow.
And the first thing I said was, did you just say cancer? I was like, it just, I was like, well, wait a minute. That's cancer, like cancer. He's like, yeah, it is. And what we're going to do about it. He was, like I say, straightforward to the point, loves me. I've been with him for a long time, but he knows how I have to respond to stuff. I said, well, I can do one or two things. I can sit here and have a pity party right now and just say, oh my God, when is my last day or whatever. Like I said, we're that straightforward. Or let's see what we can do to fix this or whatever I need to do. He said,
Mhm.
well, if you want to extend your lifespan, you're going to have a hysterectomy done. That means you can't have children. And
How
at
how
that time,
old were you? How old were you?
I just turned 42.
And
Wow.
this was how long ago?
It's been like 12, 13, 12, 13,
Oh, so
14
you
years.
were in those
Wow.
those
You were
baby
really
making
young. Yeah.
years.
Yes. And I think that now the weird part of what that was is I was always like just thinking about work and just doing things for the world and wasn't really thinking about children. But when he said that at that time, all of a sudden it seemed like I really
Mhm.
can't have any children right now if I do this. I mean, it just really just hit me like that. And that took a toll. That took a toll. I have to tell people that took a toll for a minute, which I didn't think it was going to bother me because I wasn't even thinking about having children when I was younger.
Right.
But when
Right.
that came up with the cancer and stuff, and he's like, he said, you can do one or two things: have the surgery so we can clear that out and catch it before it spreads, or if you want to try to get pregnant, we can work on doing things, but it's gonna, the cancer stuff is gonna still grow and everything. And I was like, and that
And
decision
clearly you had many more things to do. So good choice.
Good choice, right? Good choice. So I mean, that's why I commend you because I know there's so many other people that I talk to, I speak to regarding cancer and that whole, what you got to go through, whatever journey you're in. And I like how you was a part of, people's world with that and try to help them. So
Well,
yeah, and I'm glad that you did.
if you look at how cancer's a disease of our DNA, actually. I mean, that there's some exposure that helps a transformation take place, and basically the system then gets, because of lack of immunity and things like that,
Mhm.
gets overrun by, or locally initially and then systemically afterwards, gets overrun by those cancer cells. But very much everything else in our lives is the same way. And when you look at how for example we age, the same system exists, and it's all modified by a system of proteins that exist around the DNA, uh, called the epigenome. And it's a bunch of proteins and enzymes and things like that that modify the DNA at the behest of the environment that DNA is found in. And so what happens is that, very much like the aging process, our DNA gets modified progressively over time and gets shut down progressively over time. And we actually, depending on our lifestyles and how we think, and the exercise and all of those things that we do in the four pillar approach, those things actually have the ability to open up some of those sites on the DNA again and rejuvenate, and you get a biological rejuvenation as opposed to obviously a chronological rejuvenation. And that's one of the things I love doing now, is that environment also, that same environment also prevents, in large part, the prevention of those mutations that cause cancer.
Yes. And it's good if you can get the handle on it at the beginning and teach and have people be aware of that. Because I think that's what's missing. That's why I like doing this show too, and bringing, like you as a power couple on, is bringing the awareness. A lot of times people don't know until the end. I didn't know. I mean, like I said, I use my story as example of get to understand, ask the questions, look for, what you're doing to see what's needed, to see what's needed.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it does require a person to take an ownership interest in their health, and we're kind of trained in the US not to take proactive action. We're in the medical system, it's very reactionary. So, I can't tell you how many times people, they're not getting the answers that they want to get in the traditional paradigm, but they wait and they wait and they find us. And a lot of times by the time they come to us, they're desperate and it's too late, which is really sad. And that drives me nuts when that happens. But, if somebody can take an ownership interest in their health while they're, young, 20s, 30s, then you're in a better position to avoid ever having to be in a reactionary state and get to that point.
Well, that's that paradigm has developed over literally hundreds of years. I think the people have sought out physicians, medicine men, whatever, when they have a problem. So it's been reactionary because those individuals have the knowledge base and the practical knowledge base to be able to intervene for that problem. But in actuality, we can actually predict and actually create our health by planning what we desire as our outcome in the future. And that's a large part of what we do at Infinite Health. Is the mind body program actually begins with that successful health image. So I take somebody that has diabetes and hypertension and maybe some cardiac disease or autoimmune disease, and I actually ask them to create an image of somebody that they want to become. And so they become that. As they become that person, they're actually mindfully controlling their physiology to a certain degree, as we're helping change that physiology by the 4 pillars into a much healthier system. So it's kind of fun, actually, because people actually understand I can create all of these things. I can create a normal glucose metabolism. I can create a
healthy thyroid,
or an age reversal environment in my body. And those things are actually attainable. We have a lot of science that gives us optimums now that we can obtain. And unfortunately, the current paradigm doesn't work on optimums. It works on normals that are, a large range of statistical range. And some people who are in the normal large statistical range are really not optimum for themselves in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, because some of the things, it's funny because some of the things that you're talking about, Trip, my doctor had explained all that to me. So I was like, wow, now that I know this, he said, no, you can't be a doctor. Don't even try it.
Well, I don't know. You can go to medical school if you want to go to medical school.
He said, now do all that. Yeah, you can. He said, but don't take what I said. Say, hey, I'm the doctor. I said, I know. But I'm just glad that you explain that, and how, again, coming, like you said, Queen, where it is kind of sad that we, especially United States, we kind of wait till the last minute and say, okay, I'm all kind of here and fix me. Well, we really would like if we could have avoided that and try to help fix you before it got to that point. So that's why it's so important what you're doing with the pillars, and helping people that they can know that, okay, there is something that you can prevent not to get to this point. But I think that it's to be more educated. I'm just being honest. It needs to be more educated out there, because I think everybody kind of runs, once they feel something's hurting on them. I'm just going to use an example, anything like maybe your foot or something like that. And then we kind of just tend to, okay, it'll go away. Let me just take some painkillers. Let me just go get some Tylenol, whatever I got to do. I'll deal with it. And then you're just working, you're doing what you got to do. It's getting worse. And you're like, I'll put a Band-Aid around it. Then by the time you're like, oh my God, I can't hardly walk. You're going to the doctor, and the doctor's like, we could have prevented this. It was something that you were eating that probably made you get the gout or whatever. I'm just using that as
if you're going to a doctor who says that to you, you're 1 in a million, because most doctors are here, take this script and good luck with that. Hiding the symptoms. So if you're actually going to a doctor who takes the time to get to the root of that problem, then you're winning.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I have to, even though he's hardcore, he's just straight to the point. We try to get to the root of it. It's not like the Band-Aid, as you said.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, is to get to the root of it. Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. Well, I wanted to kind of just ask you a little bit with the time, and I know this has to do with a little visibility too. And you put down some interesting facts that about don't get distracted by competition. and then choose a marketing strategy that resonates with you and you enjoy. So doing what you two do, with in your lane of expertise, can you just describe a little bit of that? Because I know competition is like in everybody's head a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of marketing people in particular are like, you have to know what your competition's doing, and
Fear.
I'm a very competitive. I try to repress my competitive nature, and what I find is like if I pick up a local magazine, if I pick up a local magazine, I'm not looking at the articles, I'm looking at the ads, and I'm comparing myself to people who may be coming close to what we're doing, and then I start to feel inadequate. It's one of the reasons why I stopped looking at women's magazines when I was in
Mm,
my 20s. Women's magazines are not healthy. They give you this image, this fake image of what a beautiful woman looks like, and it can make you, as a young woman, feel inadequate and question your own self-worth. Off topic, but same thing happens when you're in business and you're obsessed with what your competition is doing. I don't think it's healthy at all. And so I don't look at that stuff anymore. I don't worry about what the competition's doing because it brings out a very low vibration, a low energy in me that isn't healthy. I don't like it. And so for me, I prefer just to stay in my lane, keep my eye on the prize, and do those marketing things that I enjoy. So if I try to do things that I don't like, that energy is going to show through that attempt, and it's not going, people are going to feel that energy, or it's just going to show through. It's like not cooking with love. It shows in the food.
yes.
So I personally, I like to write. So, we do the blogs, and I've done the
Mm,
articles and those kinds of things. I'm more comfortable with audio than video. So
mm,
we just this year branched into podcasting, and the emphasis is on more audio and not so much on video. Eventually, maybe we'll move
me
yeah, move more into that. But yeah, I think it's for us, like when we talk about trying to get somebody to exercise, for example, um, very important for that person not to try to exercise with something they don't love because they won't be successful at it. If they hate
too.
running, they should not run. If they love swimming, go do more swimming. Same thing in, whatever marketing tactic. If you love writing, write more. If you love creating social media designs, create more social media designs. Just find the things that you love and do more of those.
Yeah, I like that. I like that example that you made, Queen, because you're right. Do something that you love. I mean, let's go back to exercising because you hit something on that for me.
Oh,
I don't like running. I don't
yeah.
like running. Now, walking briskly, like just to do a daily walk, I can
Yeah.
do it. I can do that. And I'm
Yeah.
still moving my joints and stuff, right? But I had people tell me, you need to run, you need to jog, you get more, the stamina. Da, da, da. I
Well,
was like,
Dr. Tripp over here would tell you not to run because we promote no impact exercise, and running's going to trash your knees and your joints and your back. So, um, we
and I've
actually
seen
would,
it.
but if
But
you
but
do
but
run, we've got regenerative
but
medicine
the
that can help with
regenerative
that.
medicine side of me would say, please run all you
Run all you
like.
want. And then when you've trashed your knees, you know who to call.
We help you in both situations.
It's just that moral
We
ethical
have to worry
dilemma.
about me before running, so I'm good on my end. No messing up the knees for me because I already feel it already. So it's like, nope, that's okay.
Yeah,
But
so swimming or biking is actually the two of the best things you can do.
Non-impact.
Just getting your heart rate up
yeah,
is where your focus should be.
yeah, and that's the whole thing is just getting because I always ask people, how do you get that your stamina up more, especially now with the COVID that passed and we were do sitting all the time on the computer and stuff, and now we're getting out of that, and a lot of people are kind of suffering with that now because like, well, I was sitting for 3 years, and now it's like,
Yeah, deconditioning.
Yes.
yes,
COVID
yeah, it's like,
deconditioning.
become a hermit.
Yeah. Well, you really just, you do what you can, and you try to do a little more and a little more and a little more without judging yourself, and being very compassionate with yourself while also setting goals to get your stamina back up to where you want it to be.
Yeah. I love to see if you two were my like doctors and stuff. I would come all the time every week and say thank you so much.
Aw,
You give such good information, and with
thank
love too. I
you.
can tell with love that you help. So I want to make sure that you get any last thoughts that you want to give to the audience. So I'm going to take myself down for like 30 seconds, and I'll be back up, and then we'll close out and make sure they know how to contact you. So I'll be right back.
Okay, thank you. All right, listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. I hope you found it informational. It was really quick. We could just talk all day. I think if you were going to take anything away, again, you have more control over your health than maybe you have ever thought. Do you have something that you want to
Yeah,
add?
I think you can create an image and you can actually achieve that image with the information that's available and optimize your health. No matter what point you're starting at, you can really achieve amazing things.
And we didn't really get to delve too deep into it with the age reversal. I know Barbara wanted to talk a little bit about that. But if you do the 4 pillars that we offer, or if you're not around, you can get that book, Think and Live Longer. It's available on Amazon, and that is our mind body coaching component that we have at Infinite Health. So you can get that book and you can work through it anywhere you are with whatever health optimization program you are doing.
And we're happy to help by video or whatever.
That's right. I don't know. Was that 30 seconds?
I hope so.
What interested? I hope so. I think we're done, right? You all did beautiful.
Thank you.
I want to make sure you get that because I want people to really hear, because I always tell people when you come on the Visibility Corner, it's to get to know, the basically the entrepreneurs that I'm bringing on, or the gurus, and then build that relationship just a little bit of how you're listening to what they're saying. And if it resonates with you. So audience, this power couple right here, glad to have them on the show. Please reach out to them. Go to their website. It's down below. I'm going to have that scrolling for a while so you can see that. And I just want to say, both of you, thank you so much for coming on. I know time is of the essence in life, and to take out the time to come on to the show and just have a chat with me, have a chat with the audience, and talking about the pillars, talking about your health, just talking about how you show up in life. Thank you for doing that for us today.
Well, thank you so much for the platform and for the work that you do to highlight people like us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And I always tell people, once you come on my show, you're family, so you can always come back.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So with that said, everybody, thank you so much. Power couple here. Thank you for watching. Again, there'll be another Visibility Corner with Barbara J. Beckley. If you are wanting to just show up, talk about what you do, talk about what you're doing for the world, and then just give a little some tips of teachable moments for us, please come on by. Just reach out to me and we'll get you on the schedule. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you.